right, so let's start today's week 7. You guys can turn on your camera and we can get started. Okay. So here, I will share my screen for today. So today what we're going to learn is on motion types, because for the first 6 weeks, we have been learning on, speaker roles. I do not care about the slides because I just picked a random country. And yeah, it is this country. But never mind. Today we're going to learn on types and analysis of motions. And for the first 6 weeks, we have been focusing on the speaker, like speaker roles. And then we have another 6 weeks. So in the last 6 weeks, we're going to learn on different types of motions. Okay, so I will make the screen in full. So here's today's lesson plan. First of all, we will go over the weighing, but I think we will put this as last. We will look at types of motions, and then lastly, we will look at principal and practical arguments. So in debate, we have two types of arguments, and they are called principal and practical. Okay, for those who just come in, I hope you guys can turn on your camera. Okay, so we have an introduction question. If you remembered in the first lesson, we were introduced to different motion wording. Can you tell me what those are? So motion wording is like this house and something. And there are different types of them. Anyone still remembers? Neil, can you tell me some that you remember?
I think I remember two. The first one is this house, believe that, and the second one is this house would. Yeah, I think I remember too.
Yeah, that's correct. So we have this house believes that, and this house would. Anyone else remember anything else? Or you can try to guess, you can just guess. This house, what would this house do? Hun, what do you think?
I think there are this house prefers and this house supports.
Yeah, that's correct. This house preferred and this house supports. Anyone else? We still have a few more. We have support. So what is the opposite of support? Yeah. The opposite of support. So what is it? Oops, I just showed you the answer. Okay, so this house supports. We also have this house. Anyone wants to guess a few more before I show the answer? Yes, Neo.
I think it's this house regret. Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. This house regrets. And there's one more. Something which is the opposite of support. So what is it? Can anyone guess that word? It starts with O, and it is the opposite of support. Yes, Hun, what do you think?
I think it's oppose.
Yes, yeah, Tu and Hun, you're right. You can just turn on your mic too to answer. Yep, it is this house opposes. Okay, so those are, and you guys forget one, the last one. This house as X would, like as somebody, as a teacher would do something. Yep, so in total, we have 7 motion wording. This is the motion wording, but in reality, we actually have 3 main types of motion. So for example, we will put these into different categories. That means phân loại những cái này thành 3 nhóm. We will put them into 3 main groups. We have fact motions, we have value motions, like value judgment, analysis, principle debate, and we have policy motions. So now I will be explaining each of them and the Vietnamese meaning as well. All right, so first we have fact motions. Can somebody tell me what is the meaning of the word fact? Like what does this word mean? This one. Can somebody explain? Okay, I will ask a few people. So Neil, you can answer first.
I think a fact is like something that is true. Yes, something that is true and like something that is always exists from the past to now and in the future. I think so.
Oh, I forgot to unmute. So I'm just gonna call another person. How about Hui? What do you think is the meaning of the word fact? Are you speaking? Because I cannot hear.
Um, I'm thinking right now.
Okay, that's fine. So yeah, the word
I
fact.
think
Oh yeah,
I think
sure. Go ahead.
I think fact motions, I think they're like um debating about facts in life. I guess so.
Yes, but what is the meaning of fact? Like what does this word mean?
It is like the truth, the truth.
All right. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so fact is like the truth. And that is why in this debate, what you do is that when debating fact motion, you are debating whether something is or isn't true. That's what you do. And the motion clearly defines what each side has to claim. So, for example, I have these two motions. First, this house believes that meeting people online is better than meeting people in real life. So, yeah, you're just saying, okay, is it true that meeting people online is better, or is it not true? So, you are debating whether something is true or false. Or the second one, this house believes that STEM, like math or chemistry subjects, are more important than social sciences, like English or sociology. So is that true as well? So oftentimes, fact motion, it will have this house believe that. Very common one. No, that's like fact. You are determining if it's true or not. That's it. Okay. Next, we have value motion. Can anyone explain what is the meaning of the word value here? Can you try to, explain, or if you cannot really explain, you can give an example to explain. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to think what is the meaning of this, of the word, okay, of the word value first. And I will ask a few people. All right. You can just explain it really simply, or you can just give an example to explain the word value. Anyone wants to try, or I can just call, okay? Oh yeah, Haling, you can start first.
I think value is used to describe how much something worth.
Can you give an example, like any example that you can think of?
The value of this amount of money is like $50,000.
All right, thank you. I think that's good. How about Hun? What do you think?
Like I think value motion means that uh, a value motion is about judging values rather than providing facts. Like both teams discuss whether something is good, bad, or important, and they compare different values such as freedom, safety, equality, and then use logic and example to like convince the audience. I think so.
Okay, thank you, Han. I think you're also right as well. Any other who also want to explain this word and give an example? How about Lee? Can you give can you just explain what do you think is value?
Well, actually, I think that value motions, like I think is the same meaning with the outcomes of the emotions, like increase teacher salaries. What's the benefits of these motions? Yeah.
Right, I think you're right as well. Anyone else? How about I want to ask one more? How about Thu? What do you think? Thu, are you there? Okay, if not, then how about Sarah? What do you think is the meaning of value?
Um, I think that probably it compares between two beliefs. Yeah, I think so.
Can you give an example to what
Um,
you think so?
um, so I think an example could be like comparing between the belief of like encouraging women to stay at home and doing like housewife and or maybe just let them do what they want. So I think it's about the prejudice and there are goods and bads and I don't think there are any rights and wrong. They're just like discussing on the perspectives. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. I think all of you have a point there. So we have many names for this, but we call it like value. And value is basically giá trị, right? It is based on principle, like nguyên tắc or analysis. So like the meaning is on the screen. So yes, it's either number one, you have a clash. Like we learned about clash, a clash between two values, which Sarah just said, or we debate about whether something has a certain value. So it can be like this house believes that, this house supports, or this house opposes, right? Because if you are supporting or if you are believing in something, then you are basically supporting the principle behind it. Là mình đang ủng hộ cái nguyên tắc đằng sau nó ấy. So yeah, everything has, explanation. And when you debate these kind of motion, you can include, like you can define, you can explain how it looks like. Okay, so I will explain this in the example here. So this is example. Number one, this house believes that students should wear uniforms. So this is a clash between equality. Like wearing uniform it promotes equality and a clash on freedom of expression. So we are not debating how the school should transition into uniforms, but we are debating on the value behind wearing or no wearing uniforms. Okay, so we have a practice motion. This house believes that children should not be allowed to become influencers. So what do you think are the two values or the clashes in this debate are. This is the example, and this is another example. So I will give you guys like 2 to 3 minutes to think about the second motion. What do you think are the possible two values that may come up in the second motion? And you can explain a little bit why you think so. If you have any question, you can raise your hand to ask. Okay, so we will start answering this at 22. So yeah, have some time to think. All right, I guess we can start answering. So, I mean, like you guys can have different answers because maybe each person can think of the different clashes or the different values that might come up. So you can, share. Just share anything that's on your mind about this motion. So for example, you can tell me what this motion is about, like what we are debating about and what we are not debating about. And you can just like follow the first example. So anyone wants to start first? Okay, Neo, go ahead.
I think that we're talking about become influencer. So I think two values is risk, freedom, and stability. Being an influencers are really risky. Sometimes you cannot gain a lot of views, you cannot gain a lot of subscribers, and it's always taking a lot of time. But being in other jobs, like you learn, like you study university, you become engineer, doctor, you have a stable salary each month, and you don't have to worry about how many views you got, or to create and move over about like the topics of your videos. Yeah. So I think that two values and we have discussed between them. But if you become an influencer, although it's risky, but when you success, you gain a lot of money, you gain a lot of fame, and you become world famous. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Neo. I think those are good values. So, yeah, it's about like whether children should be allowed or should not be allowed and the values behind them. All right, Neo is correct. I mean, there are no right and wrong answers, so any of you can be correct as well. So, who wants to go next? Okay, I'm just gonna call. So how about Jade? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, you can share.
So I think the two values are between the stability and the riskiness of being an influencer, because being an influencer doesn't always mean that you will get popular and you will get huge success. So it will risk your time, your effort, and maybe you will receive almost nothing. On the other hand, s- influencing, I mean, influencers, when you get a stable kind of fandom, then you can grow really stably, and while it mostly will just grow up, and either you will like have some problems, then it will mostly always grow your fame and popularity, and then you can get a pretty stable income.
Right, thank you, Jade. So we have risk and stability. All right, let's see if any of you have any different values. The same one would be okay. Um, Anyone else? I see Sunny, you just come in, right? So yeah, today we are just learning about different types of motions. Let me come back a bit. So like we have three types of these, and we finished this one. Fact, something which is true or not true. And we are just going to the second kind of motion. Okay, so if you have any question, you can ask me in the chat. Okay. All right. So any of you have any different answers for this? Let me ask, Haling, what do you think?
I think two values are like first is privacy laws. Like many followers will keep track of you, and you cannot have a private space for yourself. And I also think about financial benefits, like influencers can make you influencer being an influencer makes you more famous, and then you can like make ends meet on a like stable scale. So yeah, I think.
All right, thank you. And who are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You can share your thoughts.
Okay. Well, I think that children tie their self-worth to violate online metrics like likes, views, and comments. Public exposure leaves minors high vulnerable to aggressive cyberbullying, harassment, and early anxiety or depression. Construction creation of an idealized persona forces adolescents to conform to artificial online trends instead of discovering their true identities.
All right, even though you don't really mention it, but I can see that the values are about like identity, especially on social media and freedom. Okay, thank you too for that. Anyone else you can share, or I just call on everyone if that's fine. So, how about Helena? Can you share? Okay, maybe she's not there. So, how about Lee? You can also share.
Well, um, the I think two values can be the first one can be the burden of a standard being an influencer, and the second is chance to get more opportunities, such as expanding social cycle or uh, career prospect. I mean that the first one, when you are an influence when you was a child, you can like you have a standard of being an influencer. So I think that maybe sometimes they can't be themselves because they have to uh like satisfies everybody in network. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's also a very good idea for the values. So, like opening their social circle or the harms. Yeah, I think that's also true. Like there can be many values, and it's up to you in a debate to, which one should you prioritize, which one should you focus on more. Okay, I'm gonna call on Hui. What do you think? You can also share.
Okay, so the two key values are child protection. Uh, yeah, child protection. Safeguarding children from exploitation, mental health risks, and pressures of public exposure. Yeah, public exposures. Um, this value, like it emphasizes shielding minors from harm and prioritizing their well-being. And next, it is autonomy. Respecting children's right to make choices about their own lives, including creative or career path. Um, this highlights empowerment and self-determination, even if they're at a young age. Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. So yeah, it's about like protecting their well-being and their autonomy. I think like Hui's value is actually very linked to the principle and practical arguments that we will learn later. But yeah, we will focus on that later as well. Okay, if nobody else wants to share, I'll just move on since nobody is raising their hands anymore. Okay, so yep, that's all about value, basically. Okay, the last one we have is policy motions. I mean, on the screen, it already has the meaning of what is a policy. But like, you guys can also try to explain on your own what you think is a policy by looking on the screen first. I will not explain, but like you can read on the screen a bit, and then you can explain what is policy in your own words. Okay. So yeah, I guess I'll give you 1 minute to maybe read a bit, and then you can explain on your own what you think is a policy. Okay, so for this, I will just ask a few. I will ask those who haven't answered in the last questions. Okay, so first, how about, oh, Iris, you just come in. Okay, I will just explain to you later, I guess. How about Tom? Are you there?
Um, yes, I am. And usually I would simplify policy as a rule of a government um, or a club that you have to follow. For example, no swearing, or you would have to say hi to everyone before coming into the club. For me,
Yeah.
it's like that.
Mhm. I think that's true. Like, yeah, That's basically policy. It's like a little bit similar to the rules. But yeah, you are kind of right. How about Sarah? What do you think?
I think that policy probably is the actions that the government would like to imply on like specific areas or fields. For example, like I mean, in the policy motions, I think we're going to be discussing whether the implications should be like certified or not.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, it doesn't really have to be a government. It can just be like people, business, etc. All right, but yeah, I think both of you are correct. Okay. So yes, policy motions. If you look on the screen, the word policy basically means chính sách, kiểu chính sách của nhà nước. But like in debate, it doesn't have to be government. It can be a business, people, or just normal citizens. And I think it usually, but it always starts with this house would, because like we would do something. So yeah, that is like this house would. For those who come late, you guys don't have to worry because in the first part, we are just learning about three main types of motions, which it's only like something that you can understand. And later we will learn on like the main part, so don't worry. Here, this is an example. I will take the example because the last debate, this is the motion that we have. This house would prioritize increasing teacher salaries over investing in education technology. And this is also a policy motion because we would do something. We would prioritize something, right? So yeah, if we understand that this is a policy motion, here are three things we need to do. Firstly, in a policy motion, we should provide a policy, yeah, or a model, the same thing. So in the policy, you explain two things. What do such actions look like? And how does it work? For example, if you say, oh, we want to increase teacher salary, how will you do that? How does it work? Because you don't just increase teacher salary. Maybe if I explain it, I would say maybe the principal of the school will increase teacher salaries, and in return, the teachers will have to work extra hours. Yeah, because like it's like a win-win for both the school and the teachers, right? Ở trong những trận debate mà có this house would thì các đội có quyền là đưa ra một cái kiểu cái lời giải thích là cái việc hành động này nó sẽ trông như thế nào ấy. Like you can explain on your own how it looks like, but it has to be realistic. Okay, it cannot be something weird. So yeah, that's the first one. You should provide a policy. Basically, the first speaker will do this, and then the second and third speaker, you guys will work on it. So you provide a realistic framework as to how something will be carried out. If you say that you want to invest in technology, then you have to explain how will you invest and what kind of technology will you invest. So maybe you will invest in Wi-Fi, in like more Wi-Fi for kids in mountainous area, where you will invest in computers for teachers. So you can say that, and you can make it clear when you are debating policy motion. Okay? And the second thing that you can do is you determine the status quo. I'm not sure if we know this. Do you guys know what is status quo? I think I introduced it like once, because I don't remember. Anyone still remember what is the meaning of status quo? Yes, you can explain.
Is it like the context right now?
Yes. Yeah. So Neo and Hui are correct. The context, the correct situation. So for the affirmative, you support the motion. And the negative, you just explain how the status quo or something else is better. For example, this like very classic motion. This house would ban homework. So the affirmative, you guys will ban. And the negative, you don't ban. So you support homework, which means you support the status quo because the status quo has homework. Kind of like that. Okay. And number 3 is that you will identify the exclusivity. Là mình sẽ xác định cái sự độc đáo của ý tưởng của mình ấy. Because, for example, 2 questions here. If both sides can benefit somebody, how is your side better? Because in the last debate, in my room, I don't know about room 2, but both teams in this motion, in the affirmative, they say that, okay, if teachers have more salary, then they will be more motivated and they will, spend more time or they will have something to help student. On the negative, they also say that technology can help student. So both sides can help the student. If that is so, who wins, right? So on your side, you have to tell me and tell the others, how is your side better or like more impactful in terms of like, how does your side benefit the student? And number 2, how is the harm on the other side not happening on your side? Because sometimes if you say, oh, the other side is bad because of this, what about your side? Does it also happen on your side? If it also happens, then you are not good, right? So yeah, you should also focus on that as well. So it might be a lot, but you guys can, spend a few moments to read, and then you can ask me if you have any questions. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Excuse me, but can you like provide one more example to the number 1? Because I don't really understand this.
Okay, I'll explain. So yeah, number 1, whenever you see this house would something, it means it is a policy motion because we would do something, right? So you should provide a policy. Mình sẽ phải cung cấp là mình sẽ thực hiện cái hành động đấy trông như thế nào ấy. Like how will it look like? For example, I will give the example on the screen, that motion. If I am the affirmative and I say, oh, we would increase teacher salary, then how will it look like? Because like the other side can say, oh, you increase teacher salary, but does it mean they will, teach students any better? Well, if you provide a policy in the beginning, the other side cannot say that. For me, if I'm on the affirmative, I would say 2 things. Number 1, when we increase teacher salary, there must be requirement for teachers. We cannot just give them more money because if we give them more money, they must do something in return. So we would say, oh, there must be a requirement for teachers like extra hours, working extra hours or something else. And number 2, when we give them more salary, then there must be like a promise between the teachers and the school. Like teachers should make a promise that they will do this to help the student. And yeah, I just give a policy on how I will increase teacher salary, right? Kind of like that. On the negative, maybe I will say, okay, when we invest in education technology, it can be many things. It can be providing Wi-Fi access for mountainous regions, or it can be providing computers for teachers, or like AI if you want that as well. So yeah, that is like the policy. You just give, how you will do that, and you make it clear so that the other side cannot say, oh, how will you do that? You cannot do it. It's impossible. Kind of like that. Do you understand?
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, maybe not. So yeah, those are the three main types of motions. We debate value the most, and then we have policy. Fact, we rarely do this. Rarely happens, I guess. Okay, now comes to the main part, which is if we have time, we will try to determine these. Okay. Yeah, but now we will move on to this one. Principle and practical arguments. So in debate, we have two types of argument. First, practical. Practical, it means thực tiễn ấy, right? So these are arguments about what will happen in real life, like the real world consequences of doing or not doing something. Tức là cái luận điểm của mình thì nó sẽ có kết quả thực tiễn và ảnh hưởng trực tiếp như thế nào tới những đối tượng được nêu ấy. So these types of arguments focus on results, effects, and outcomes. And you will ask yourself, will this work? Or what will happen if we do this? For example, like I remember he has two values. His first one is children's well-being. And that's a practical argument because if children become influencers and they are not aware of the risk, they might be pressured, they might feel stressed. And that's practical. That is the effect that they kind of like experience. Okay, so this is an example. This house would ban cigarettes. So the practical is that if we ban cigarettes, then yes, the outcome is that fewer people will smoke, and it reduces lung cancer, and it saves healthcare cost. On the negative, I can say, okay, banning cigarette, it will create, see, will do something. And it is a practical argument, will create a black market, making it harder to control quality and taxes. That's basically practical. Your argument has results, effects, and outcomes. And this is the most popular types of arguments. Okay, now we come to principle. I forgot, like, it misses a couple of words here. So principle là luận điểm có nguyên tắc ấy. It is similar to like value. Yeah. So these are arguments about morality, rights, and values. So you ask yourself, what is right or wrong, fair or unfair, regardless of the outcome? So for he said that, okay, we don't care if children like may be stressed, but children has the right to choose what they want to do, regardless of the outcome. Like if they want to do it, they can do it. If they don't want, then they will not do it. So yeah, what is right and what is wrong? And normally, when you make these types of arguments, you will ask yourself, is this the right thing to do? And does this respect people's rights? Là nó sẽ liên quan đến việc là cái gì đúng, cái gì sai, có công bằng hay không ấy. And that's principle. So yeah, it's the opposite of practical. And this argument can be a bit difficult to make. Okay, here's an example. Again, the same motion. But if I'm the affirmative and I make a principal argument, I would say, okay, we would ban cigarettes because the government has a moral duty to protect citizens' health, even if it limits freedom. And that's the principle because the government has a duty to do it. It doesn't really have like an outcome, but yeah, it's like a principle. On the negative, I can say people should have the right to do what they want to their bodies because it's their body. They can, smoke a cigarette if they want, or yeah. But normally, it's kind of difficult to explain the principle why they should do because the others I can say, okay, if they do that, they will die, and that's not good. Kind of like that. So normally, people make practical arguments more than principle argument. But principal argument is also important as well. And that's it. Do you guys have any question about the principal and practical arguments? And yeah, when you make the arguments, you will also follow the structure that we learned in the argumentation lesson. But like, I just introduced two types. And when you make them, you also have like context, explanation, and impact. Mm, what do you mean, Neil? Can you explain like your question?
I think it's not really a question. It's like I just think that principle, like about in principle motions, I think it's fair for two teams because it's also true and it's also untrue. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it has the fair benefits. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it happens, and if you want to win, what you should do is that if you are able to prove that your impacts are bigger, then you win. Yeah, because like that's what happens. And you have a choice to make principle or practical arguments. Okay, so it's your choice. Okay, I think that's enough of talking. Now we will have a bit of break and then we will have a practice. We have two motions. I will put the motion on the screen and you guys will vote, like not vote. I mean, yes, you will vote on the motion you want. So like I will put 1 and 2 and you will put emojis under my message. Okay, and we will have like a 6 or 7 minute break. Yeah, the emotions are like number one, it's about sport, okay? Because tonight is the World Cup, so I just want to put emotion on sport. This house believes that athletes should never give up their citizenship in exchange for sports opportunities abroad. Meaning that, some athletes, they represent another country. And number two, this house believes that the commercialization means sự thương mại hóa of sports. Like, in the World Cup, the fee is really expensive and there are like sponsorships. And we believe that this one has destroyed the spirit of the game. Okay, so these are two motions. You guys can vote what you guys want. And we will come back a bit. So now have a break. Okay, I guess we can come back now. So we will not be over time. I guess everyone choose the second motion. So we will debate on the second motion. Okay, what to do is really simple. We just learned about principle and practical argument. So what you guys do is that you will create one principle and one practical argument, two arguments in total, and you can provide any further setup or framing that you want. Okay, and I will divide you guys into pairs, which means you will rebut the person in your pair and you will POI the person in your assigned pair. For example, if Neo and Hui is in a pair, then when Neo is speaking, Hui has to POI and the other way around. So yeah, that's how it works. I guess now I will put you guys into teams and pair. Okay, so here, how many people are there? 10. So yeah, it works. Okay, just gonna do this randomly. So first we have two. Oh, two is gonna leave early. Okay, then two will not join. So 9 people, which means one will do it with me, maybe. Let's
Can I ask
see.
that what motion would we do? Number one or number two?
Number two, here.
Number two. Oh, okay. Thank
Yes.
you.
So wait me a bit. I will just assign the teams. So now we have 9 people. So who volunteers to work alone and no pair? And I will POI you. So one must do it. If no one do, what do you mean, Lee? Like you will leave early or what?
I mean that I do practical and principle have like the same meaning, same duties.
Uh-huh. Okay. But yeah, they're a bit different. But sure, it's up to you guys as to how you do the arguments. If you cannot think of any principle, you can just make two arguments. But like you can try to think of like one principle and one practical. Okay, nobody volunteers. Okay, I don't know who to pick. Never mind. I'm not sure. Okay, sure. We will do this really quick. Don't worry, I'll just ask one question. How many? Okay, enough. So yeah, just spin. Okay, so he will work alone then. So if you work alone, you can choose your side. Okay, you can just choose like any side you want. Okay. Jade, do you want to work alone? You should have said that earlier. Okay, so yeah, Jade will work alone and you can choose your side. So now I will assign into teams. So first we have Neo and Silver. How about this? Okay, I'll just do it so it'll be quick. Neo and Lee. Okay. And Neo will be affirmative and Lee will be negative.
Well, I have a question. So we work separately.
Yes, of
Is it?
course, because you're not on the same team. Just later you will be POIing each other.
Okay.
And then we have hui and hun. The first person I put first will be affirmative. Okay, so hui affirmative and hun negative. And then the next pair is Tom and Sunny, which mean Tom affirmative and Sunny negative. And then Iris and Sarah. Okay, I think that's all of you. Yeah, so now we just work. I'll give you guys 10 to 15. If you guys finish early, then we will do that. But yeah, 10 to 15. And you can ask me any question during the prep. I will send the slide in the group in case you want to look at anything. Remember that the person that is put first is on affirmative, okay? And yeah, the second is on negative. Oh yeah, like I mean you will rebut the person in your pair, kind of like that. So for example, Neo and Lee, Neo speak first and Lee rebuts Neo, and then after Lee finished, then Neo will have like a short speech to rebut Lee, kind of like that. So you will just rebut people in your pair and POI people in your pair. So when the other is speaking, you should at least try to give one POI, okay? Like you have to do it. So yeah. So how long do you guys want to speak? Last time we have four, and that's not enough, so we can speak for like five. Okay. So yeah, 4 to 5, because it's like only arguments. So yeah, that's how long. Okay, I guess we will be starting now. So if you guys finished, I will ask like the pair who finished first. So anyone wants to go first? All right, if not, I will spin the wheel so that the wheel will decide and it's fair. Yeah. All right, so Neil and Lee, you guys will start first, and the affirmative will always start first. Okay, let me share the timer, so wait a bit. And like the maximum time is 6. Okay, so you guys can speak until that time. All right, so yeah, Neil, you can start whenever you are ready. And Lee, make sure to, because like, okay, here's the POI rule, because the POI is asked during the speech. So cannot ask in the first and the last minute, you cannot ask any POI. And you have to ask at least one, because if you don't ask, then later you have to ask. So like, yeah, make sure you ask at least one. That's it. Okay, Neil, you can start.
Okay, I'm starting now. Um, yeah, start. So nowadays, football are losing its spirit. Like, let's take an example of football. Okay, wait a minute. I need to see the motions. Can I need to see the motions.
Okay, I will send the motion. Wait,
Okay, it's easier to talk with motion.
you want to start again?
Yeah.
Okay, start here.
Okay, let's start. Nowadays, commercializations of sports has destroyed the spirit of the game. Let's take an example of football. The two most powerful clubs are Real Madrid and Barcelona. Why we call they are the two most powerful clubs? Because they pay a lot of money on good football players. It means that they pay to win. That's the reason why they have the highest rate of winning a Champions League Cup or La Liga Cup. And FIFA are now using football as the money mining machine. For example, Nike, Adidas, they are the biggest sponsorships of FIFA in the World Cup. Football is not also about money. Like the reason why Neymar left Barcelona because PSG, Paris Saint-Germain offer higher salaries and prices, and they also use football celeb to get money. No one watch Saudi Arabia teams say fighting each other until Ronaldo signed signed like signed with Al Nasser's president, and Ronaldo joined Al Nasser teams, and everyone now watch Saudi Arabia team, and Saudi Arabia gain a lot of money due to Ronaldo, and also football related celebrities, um, also football related celebrity like ISO Speed. Like FIFA collaborates with ISO Speed in World Cup so that he always come to World Cup games. Yeah, and this is true that clubs are paying more and more money to win. It's not about spirit anymore. Real Madrid is a Spanish club, but they have 11 official, like 11 players that play on the field is foreigners and foreigners players. But it should have been Spanish. Also, Vietnam nowadays we are spending a lot of money on naturalized player to reach the plan of of joining the World Cup in 2030. And like footballs nowadays look like Benton market. Like a lot of football president fight each other for good players like Kylian Mbappe, like Michael Olise, and footballs are losing its spirit. And of course, money is now the the priority of uh, uh, of football clubs and also the World Cup. Like the day that Ronaldo has been um, eliminated, the ticket price has gone down a lot because Ronaldo fans is really big, and also football players, are too focused on sponsorship and social media because they gain a lot of money from that. Like Nike spend like 30 millions for Messi to wear Nike shoes, and Legos also they spend $10 million to invite Ronaldo, to invite Messi, Vinicius, Mbappe in advertisements. Moreover, even Spider-Man movie trailer, they like offer Messi to come to the advertisement, and it went viral. So football nowadays is about financial problems. It's not about spirit. And national teams always like they are losing the spirits, the national spirits of the team. Yeah, now they play for money. Yeah, that's my that's my arguments.
Okay. So Lee, you didn't ask a POI. You can ask him now, I guess. But yeah, if you have.
So, actually, I think it's quite late. But my POI is about Neo. If having more money can destroy the spirit of sport. So, why do wealthier teams still lose the smaller clubs in some season? Does that show that talent, coaching, or maybe teamwork still matter rather than just money?
I say like your question is like coachings and tactic is more important than money, is it? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. I think yes, because football is about teams. It's called team sport. Like we need tactic, we need coaching, we need good coachings. And we need also a perfect plan to fight each other. Today, like last night, I think France fought against Spain, but Spain win. That was so very surprised because France has a lot of expensive players like Mbappe, Olise, Turkey, Dembele, but Spain still win. They have Lamine Yamal, and they still win because their midfielders is really strong, and also they have a tactic to to stop to stop the striker from France. So yeah, tactic is more important than just spending money on players.
All right. Thank you for that. I will give feedback after, I guess. So yeah, Lee, you can start yours.
So about my argument, first of all, I I have to say that um, today debate is about whether commercialization has destroyed the spirit of sports. Uh, so our burden is like I have to demonstrate that commercialization is means that supporting sports rather than an end in itself. Like money is just a tool. So about my argument, I will tell you the main idea. Commercializations has not destroyed the spirit of game because money is a result that can support sports to fulfill their purpose more effectively rather than just uh, money replace that purpose. So uh, about the context, modern sports nowadays have become increasingly competitive and demanding. Athletes are expected to train and have a lot of experience. They also are expected to compete at the highest level and maintain peak physical conditions in their seasons. But at the same time, organizing professional competitions requires investment in infrastructure, coaching, and also medical care. Yeah. So in this context, financial resources are no longer optional. They are essential for support or function and develop sustainability. Sustainably. So, so I will tell you how it works. Commercialization.
I have POI. Okay. Um, so my POI is that you say that money commercializations help teams to develop infrastructure, to develop like coach to develop the conditions of football players. So my question is, um, so why FIFA choose America, Mexico, and Canada be the host country instead of other countries, while their infrastructure are not are really bad. Like the weather is really hot, and the stadium they have no AC, have no air conditioners, and players cannot bring their own water bottles. Do you think that Donald Trump are spending money on FIFA presidents to reach his fulfillment that his country gonna be the host country of World Cup?
Sorry, but I can't understand your POI too much.
Like you're talking about develop infrastructure. So my question is that do you think Donald do you think Donald Trump spending a lot of money to be the host country, although America, Mexico, and Canada do not have good infrastructure?
It's okay. You can just like move on with your speech. Yeah.
So, okay, I would continue my explanation. Mm, You know, uh, commercialization generates revenue through sponsorships, uh, and uh, and transfer markets. Uh, I think that this revenue is uh, reinvested into the supporting ecosystem by improving training facilities, uh, qualify coaches, or develop uh, academies, advancing sports science, or something like that. So, as the result, athletes are able to focus on training and competitions instead of worrying about financial conditions. So better preparation can help them to pursue excellence, compete fairly, and give their dedications, discipline, and teamwork. I think that these aspects make is the heart are the heart of the spirit of sports. So, in other words, commercializations changes how sports are supported, not why sports exist. So, about the outcome, when my argument works, uh, it can have some impacts. First of all, this can create higher competitions because it allows athletes to reach their potential, their highest level in competitions. And also, it can inspire more people to participate in sports. Uh, Most importantly, the values of pers perseverance, excellence, teamwork, or fair competitions, and reinforced rather than diminished. Yes, that's my argument.
All right, thank you, the first pair. I think that was really good, actually. So I'm gonna give like very quick feedbacks. First of all, for Neo, I think you know a lot about football and football knowledge, which is good because like your POI questions are really hard to answer. Yeah, kind of hard to answer, so that's a good thing. However, like you don't need to focus that much on sport. I mean, sorry, that much on football because the motion is the commercialization of sports, right? So the other side can say other sports, not football, if somebody said that. So you can, of course, you can totally give examples on football, but you should also make arguments in general as well. Like in general some other sports that may come up, like swimming or basketball. I have no idea. But yeah, and another thing is that you can try to, make your arguments a bit clearer because even though you do explain, but you should have like a sentence about the main idea. So it is better. But yeah, that's it really. Furley, I think your arguments are really good. Like you provide the context and other things, which are pretty nice. It's okay if you cannot answer the POI question because it's kind of hard actually. Like he asked about America's infrastructure is really bad, but why are they still the host of World Cup? Yeah, that is something that is, requires like about political aspects as well. But yeah, overall, I think Lee's argument is also pretty good as well. Yeah, that's it really. Okay. So now moving to the other pair. Any other pair wants to volunteer to go first? Like to go now? Let's see. Okay, Iris, you can go. And Iris and Sarah. Sure, go ahead.
Okay, it is because actually after this I have a quick meeting with my teammates, so I need to go out really soon. So I'm really sorry for that. Okay, so I will make it clear and fast. We believe that commercialization destroy the spirit of sports, and the first thing it destroy is the fair play spirit. Actually, commercialization is unfair in the context of sport. You all know that the purpose of sports is that everyone should compete based on their talent, their hard work, and their dedication to their passion. So it should not based on how much money they will have or their club have. Okay, so actually now and then commercialization gives wealthy clubs a huge advantage because they have more money. They can buy the best players. They can hire the best coaches. They can um, build the best facilities. In contrast, smaller clubs, they also work hard, but they can never compete the richer clubs. This maybe means that success will depend on not just effort or ability, but more on money. It is unfair because sports are supposed to reward the excellent athletes, not just wealth club. And even if commercialization brings money, bring more money into sports to build better facilities, to improve as a whole, the fairness should never be something that money can buy. And my next argument is about it is about a practical argument. We believe that commercialization will slowly destroy the quality of sports in the long run. Um, every organization now, even us, even we, everybody follows incentives. I mean motivation. If the biggest incentive becomes making money, people will naturally make all the decision focusing on how to make more money. So many clubs and many athletes, instead of asking how can we improve the sport as a whole, they will start asking themselves how can we make more profit. So the club they can buy famous stars because these people, for example, Ronaldo, they can sell more shirts because he has many fans all over the world. Um, the club can instead of let their uh footballers or I mean their players take a rest after many matches, they try to organize more matches because they find that they can earn more broadcasting revenue from these matches. And many athletes they can also focus on short-term success. For example, Neymar go to PSG, left along Barcelona, maybe instead of developing their um maybe their career path in the near future. Yes, just because of money. So the whole system they shift from developing sports, developing themselves to selling sports. So over time, young players will receive fewer opportunities to grow up because many clubs just want to buy stars, and many athletes can feel more exhausted because of more matches, and the competitions may maybe less exciting to watch, I guess, because it is just a game of rich people. And I mean, the overall quality of the sport will decline. So I believe that commercialization doesn't just destroy sports night to night. It slowly changes. It slowly change what the sport exists for, and that is the incentive, I mean the motivation. Yes, and that is all of my arguments. Thank you.
All right, I said that was really good because you provide both the principle and practical. If you're busy, you can leave now.
Okay, actually, I want to hear
Okay,
from
sure. I
Sarah.
thought you were busy.
Yes.
So, Sarah, you have a POI because like you didn't ask earlier.
Okay. So my question to you is that if we actually like remove all the money from football, then I believe that we would actually go back to the amateur sport where only the rich kids can afford the training they only can play, like only the rich kids can play because they're the only people who actually can afford training. So my clear question is that, do you believe that the spirit of game is stronger when only the wealthy can participate, or do you believe that it is stronger when every kid, regardless of background, has a chance to become a professional?
Actually, I do not really get the point. I'm so sorry for that. Can you clarify it?
Like my idea, I think that without commercializations, like funding, then I believe that there will be no money for donations to poor kids who actually want to train for footballs. So it's gonna be an amateur sport where only the rich can play. So my question is that, do you believe it's like the spirit of game is stronger when the wealthy can participate, or both the poor and the wealthy?
Okay, so you say that it is because of commercialization. More poor kids can be players in the near future and they can try, and it is fair like that. Okay, so actually it has two sides. And maybe now and then we see the scale of commercialization is quite um, more than that fair. I believe that the problem is the scale of that commercialization. If it is moderate, it can help people. It can help poor kids to go to join the game, to develop themselves, to do all because they have the passion. However, now and then I can see that commercialization of many sponsors, many clubs, it is just for more money. And that is the way they just go ahead because of more money, because of the profit, because of the revenue. And many of those clubs, they do not try to develop these poor kids. They do not try to develop more young people. Yes, they just focus on buying stars, yes, to do marketing, I guess, and that is the reason why I believe that it's not fair.
Thank you for that. Okay, so now I will invite Sarah. You can start your speech.
Okay, so the propositions firstly want all of us to believe that the money, as long as like the commercializations, has murdered the soul of the sport. So there actually are paintings, the pictures of a very greedy presence of the many organizations. But actually, remember, the pure past actually never existed. In the old days, players were treated like properties. Clubs were sold without even like asking them, and fans couldn't even watch the heroes unless they lived next door. So that's not purity, that's poverty. So we agree that change has happened, but the change is not the destructions, and we believe that commercialization has saved and strengthened the spirit of game. Firstly, they said that money actually like sold the loyalties of both the clubs and the players. They argue that players are just sold to those who have like higher higher bidder. But let's look at the facts. In the past, clubs sold players just like cattle, where there are no loyalty to the players. But today, the players have rights under the rules of commercializations. And we still see the incredible loyalties. Like, for example, Song Ho-ming, he actually could earn double their salary anywhere else, but they still stay. Why? Because of the spirit and the love they give for the club. So money hasn't killed any loyalty. It's actually proven loyalty. And when a player actually refuses a huge offer to stay, they celebrate him. So we should not confuse players having choices with destroying the spirit. Second, they said that money makes like creates the gap for inequalities bigger and it kills the competitions. However, For example, in the English Premier League, the TV money is shared almost equally, and the team that finishes last actually gets more money than the champions of many other European leagues. This means that smaller clubs can finally afford the good coaches and stadiums. Also, when a big club buys a star from a small club for like millions of dollars, the small club gets $100 million, right? So that money saves them from going bankrupt and it gives them a future. So, right now I'm gonna present my principal arguments. Firstly, what is the true spirit of sport? It is the idea that the hard work, talents, and dedications should be rewarded, and it is about giving everyone a fair chance to succeed. Let's think, for example, a kid from a poor village from in Brazil, or even here in the rural of Vietnam. Before commercializations, that kid has almost zero chance to change his life. His talent was wasted because nobody could see him and nobody would pay for his training. But now, because clubs have massive sponsorship money, they build academies all over the world. They pay for the food, education, and coachings. Why? Because they actually want to find the next superstars. So ask yourself, is it morally wrong for that for the kid to earn $10 million? No, it's right. It shows the world that his skill is rare and valuable. To say that this destroys the spirit is to say that athletes should stay poor, and that's deeply unfair. Furthermore, what about the fans? In the past, only the rich people in the local town could watch their team live. Now, because of the sponsorship, matches are broadcasted to billions of people across the planet. It is right to keep the sport. Is it right to keep the sport exclusive? I don't believe so, because commercializations makes the sport accessible. So that's morally good. And now coming to my practical arguments. So what actually happens if we actually remove the money? If we strip away all the transfer fees and sponsorship, the game actually collapses. It's not about destroying the spirit, it's about survivance. Without money, how do you build a modern stadiums? How do you pay for the doctors and the youth coaches? So we simply cannot. The game becomes immature again. It becomes slow, low quality, and dangerous. Players get injured, and there's no medical care to fix them. So the same clubs that pay the huge transfer fees are the ones that hire the best nutritionists and the best tactical coaches. So they use the money to develop the technologies that heals injuries faster. This allows athletes to actually play at better levels. So let's reconsider this. Is the game worse now than it was 30 years ago? I don't believe so. Because the athletes right now are faster, the goals are more spectacular, and the matches are more exciting. Furthermore, everyone can watch it, and it's thanks to the commercializations. Secondly, think about the future. If you take away all the money, the sport dies. Young people want to play sports to have a career. If there's no money, they won't choose football or basketball. They will become engineers or businessmen. So commercialization keeps the pipelines of talent flowing. It ensures that our grandchildren will have the heroes to watch and dream about. So, in conclusion, I believe that commercializations rewards the hard work and makes the game fair and accessible to everyone regardless of their background. And also commercialization pays for the infrastructure, the safety, and the quality that keeps the game alive and growing. So that's the end of my speech. And proud so host. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sarah, for that. So, Iris, are you still there? If you are there, you can give a POI.
Yes. Actually, from the very beginning, can maybe I want to give a compliment, because from Sarah's point, actually, I also realized something. Because as I said before, in some way, commercialization also helps. We have Hoàng Anh Gia Lai Academy. They are sponsor 100% for poor kids. For their passion, for their development. However, actually, this is just like try to maybe it is like you try to fight for scholarships. It is quite a little bit rare. Actually, it is rare. Hoàng Anh Gia Lai Academy, for example, football. They just recruit a little bit like from 7 to 20 kids to develop in those academy. So actually, as I said before, it do not really um it do not guarantee that all the people with talent, yeah, and with passion can develop. Yes, that's the first thing. Okay. I have uh okay. Okay, so I have um a question for you. I'm so sorry. Um Here, do you believe that increasing revenue should justify any level of commercialization, even when it compromises fairness and the spirit of game? I mean, um, actually, if it is at a moderate scale, it's okay. But can you justify the level? Can you make sure that it will not go so far? Yes, that's my question. How can you do that?
Can you like clarify, like shorten the question a little bit? I cannot keep track of it. Sorry.
Okay. So actually, I want to dig into the mechanism. How can you make sure that the level of commercialization is moderate, is enough at somewhere, so that it will not destroy the fairness and the spirit of the game, but improve. Is
Uh,
it clear?
so firstly, I would like to thank for your admissions that the sponsors actually help the kids to pursue their dreams. Um, when you say that the opportunities are rare, for example, like Lie, right? I agree that it's never perfect, but I believe it's better than just like zero chance for the kids at rural areas. So in the past, a kid from a poor village have absolutely no chance. But right now, with like the first step of development of commercializations, few kids or maybe seven kids, as you've said, already had a chance, and that's a big improvement. Then you ask about moderations, like how do we make sure commercializations do not go too far, right? So I believe that the motion says commercialization has destroyed the spirit, which destroy here means completely killed. And if you're asking about moderations, you're admitting that the problem is like about too much commercializations, not commercialization itself. And that is a completely different debate. We agree that there should be regulations, but that does not mean that the spirit is dead. And it means that we just need better management. It means in your POI, it has already accepted the fact that commercializations is under our control. It's just that we need to manage it at a moderate rate. It is no longer about destroying the spirit of football. So answering the question directly, I mean that we're not saying about any level of revenue is justified. We're saying that the solution is better regulations by not removing commercialization entirely, because it's the fund where children could actually depend on to actually pursue their dreams and while still maintaining the spirits to be alive. Yes, so I think that's my answer.
All right, thank you guys for that. Since like this took more than I expected it would be, so we might be a bit over time. But yeah, I'm gonna give really quick feedback. So of course, all of you did really well, and that comes to the question of defining different terms.
What about me?
Yeah, we're not done yet.
Okay,
Who
sorry.
just asked? Yes, we're not even done. We still have like more people. But yeah, I'm just giving feedback to Sarah and Iris. So as you can see, it's a matter of defining because commercialization, right? People can have different definitions. If you define it like massive sponsorships, fees, or entrance fee to watch football matches or others, that's commercialization. If you define it, so it's a matter of how you define it, because debate is very fair when it comes to defining. So yeah, that's like what I want to say. Therefore, you should define right from the very start what you mean by commercialization. Oh, no worries. Lee, I think you do provide arguments. It's just that it's not that clear, but you do have these arguments, so don't worry. Okay, so yep, Jade, you can start now, I guess. And yep, we will be a bit over time, so I hope you guys can still stay. Yes, Jade, go ahead.
So I'll start in three, two, and one. So I oppose this motion that sponsoring a lot of commercializing football and sport overall, it will destroy the spirit of the sport. So first, let's define the spirit of the game as the spirit of the sports is that about pushing human limits, inspiring global communities, and rewarding excellence and excels. So commercialization does not destroy the spirit of the sport. It just fuels it because money is the engine that allows athletes to turn their passion into a career and allow the game to reach its highest possible quality. So first is that um money can empower athletes and true fairness. So the point is that professional athletes deserve to be compensated for their extreme labor, sacrifice, and talent. So historically, sports were for the wealthy elite because poor people wouldn't pay afford to play for free. So commercialization allows the young talents for impoverished or working class backgrounds to lift themselves and their families out of poverty. Rewarding talents with life-changing money is the ultimate form of fairness and respect for human labor. So you can see, look at the history. People at like a long time ago, they didn't have like as good of a skill to people nowadays, where there are more technology, more advanced technology and coaches that can help them improve. So that leads to the second argument, the practicality of it. So funding global quality and access. The point is that funding from sponsors and media rights drastically improve the game for everyone because billion-dollar investment fund state-of-the-art training facility and cutting-edge sports science, youth academy programs, and safer stadium. So this money makes the game faster, safer, and more thrilling to watch. It also funds global broadcasting, meaning a kid halfway across the world can still watch their favorite team in high definition, turning local games into a global shared human experience. So that's my point.
Oh, okay. So I will just ask one question. So you're on opposition, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, don't you think that the commercialization, like higher fees or more sponsorship, is making sports inaccessible to, for example, if you're far away, you cannot really afford to watch, or yeah, so that's basically the question. Is it making sport inaccessible to the majority of people?
So even if it's not commercialized, it's a normal sport and there's nothing else in it. If you're far away, you still cannot access it. On the other hand, even if you're way far away, you will also be able to access it through live broadcast because nowadays phone and computer and stuff they appears and they exist for a reason to help you access stuff that you can't like physically do. So um every single time a game plays, there is always a camera and a broadcast for you to like share all over the world and globally. Everyone will be able to enjoy it just with an iPad or a phone as like more affordable way of watching the game.
All right, thank you. That was really good. So you explained really well on like why it doesn't really destroy. I think one thing you can improve is that you can clearly explain the spirit, right? Because like for a prop, maybe I have one more question, but I did not ask it. Like I could have asked, what do you think is the meaning of the spirit? Because like the spirit, it's something like it's really hard to define and it's based on different teams. For example, I can say that the spirit of the game is about like unity or community, like the community sense, not really about like other sponsorships or, the money aspect of buying merches because that's what people want. They want like merches from famous athletes. So yeah, you can define that. But overall, that was good as well. Okay, the next we have like Hun and we also have Sunny and Tong. So who wants to start next? No one volunteers. Okay, so how about Sunny and Tom? You guys can start now.
So, first of all, I'm not that interested in competitive sports, so I'll just speak out what I have Googled.
No worries, because I'm not really into sport as well.
Oh,
So yeah, go
um,
ahead.
all right, I'll start now. So, to properly evaluate this debate, we must first define what constitutes the spirit of the game. The true spirit of sport is built on three pillars: fair competition, community representation, and absolute loyalty. It is the core belief that um, wait a minute, uh, uh, oh no, um, that anyone, regardless of background, can win through sheer merit, hard work, and talent, and that sports teams serve as vital cultural anchors for their local communities. As the affirmative, my burden today is simple. I will demonstrate that the unchecked hyper-commercial commercialization of sports, driven by massive transfers fees and mega sponsorships, fundamentally corrupts and overrides these sacred pillars, transforming a beautiful cultural tradition into a sterile, third, I don't know, sterile corporate transaction. So now I'll speak my principal argument. So it centers on how commercialization strips sports teams of their intrinsic in- intrinsic value as community institutions and turns them into mere corporate brands. Historically, sports clubs were born out of local neighborhoods, representing geographic identities, working class pride, and shared generational history. However, when a sport becomes hyper commercialized, the primary objective shifts from serving the local community to maximizing global corporate profit. Decisions are no longer made for the fans. Instead, kickoff times are shifted to inconvenient hours just to suit foreign television broadcasting markets, and historic stadium names are erased in favor of corporate sponsors. When local, lifelong fans are priced out of tickets and treated merely as consumers. The deep, soulful connection that defines the spirit of the game is permanently lost. And moving to the practical reality on the ground, hyper commercialization has completely destroyed the fairness of competition. by making sporting outcomes highly predictable. In a pure sport, the team that trains the hardest and possesses the best tactical merit should win. Today, however, massive transfer fees and unregulated sponsorship concentrates the world wealth into a tiny handful of elite, billionaire-owned or state-backed super clubs. Smaller clubs with deep community roots can no longer compete because they're financially priced out of re- retaining or buying talent. This shows the any given Sunday unpredictably that makes sports thrilling. Instead of an open contest of athletic skill, leagues are turned to predictable monopolies where the richest team wins before the match even begins, destroying the very essence of fair play. All right.
All right, thank you for that. That was pretty good. So, Sunny, you have a question to ask Tom.
Please note I have no
Um,
idea.
yes, actually, I have one question. So he just said that the true spirit of sport is like the community's repent I mean repentance representation and like absolute volunteers. But I just want to ask that sport should only like be run by volunteers and like how are talented athletes like they are from poor families to like they can afford to suppose to feed themselves from trains full time without getting paid.
Well, actually, that was a nice question. That's a nice question. Well, but I can't answer that right now.
It's fine. Yeah, you can like sometime after. Okay. So,
If
Sunny,
you're
you can
interested,
have your.
if
Mhm.
you're interested, Sonny, I can answer you to, I mean, I can answer you like a week later in our next meeting if you're interested,
Sure, you can send her like text or something. Okay.
or I can send you my answer.
Okay, maybe the Wi-Fi is a bit lagging. Okay, so Sunny, you can start. Yeah, hopefully we will not be too overtime. I don't know why this took so long. Okay, Sunny, go ahead.
Yeah, so I may start my speech in three, two, one. Greetings, everyone. My name is Sunny, and I'm from the opposition team. So today we're going to debate about this. I believe that the commercialization of sports has destroyed the spirit of the game. And I'm strongly disagree with this. So first of all, let's move straight forward to my rebuttal. So the opposition say that sports should only be about volunteers and local communities, but just let's be real, like in reality, volunteer only sport is a sport for the rich. Because, if athletes don't get paid, only people who are already wealthy can afford to pay. Commercialization is what actually opened the doors. It turns sports into a real job so that people from poor neighborhoods and working class communities can make a living doing what they love. So professionalism is a true belief of equal opportunities. So now let's move straightforward into my first argument. Um, First of all, we got money makes sport a meritocracy, not a rich kids club. So the point here is, so just back in the days, in the old days, if you weren't rich, you couldn't afford to just train all day. So you had to work a normal job to afford the money and get salaries. Commercialization is what allows a kid from a humble background to become a superstar. Because clubs have money, so they can build free academies to find and train talent anywhere in the world. So many actually make the game fair. Secondly, is about better funding keeps players safe and playing longer because high-tech medicines, trainers, or safety gear cost a serious cash. So if we want to see our favorite players play at the absolute best, for example, like Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, some kind of that. So because of our commercial sponsors, clubs can afford the best doctor, trainers, and recovery tech. So now players are dominating well into the to the years to the 30s. The quality of the games had is being better and higher. And last but not least, is about the rise of women's sports. So just let's look at our reality. In some specific places in the world, in some country, they are just ignoring about the women's sport is just completely ignored and unfounded. So by this opportunity is can finally funding women's sports. So it will rely on traditional system. Women's sports will still have no funding. So huge commercial sponsors like Nike or Visa are pouring millions into women's leagues, giving female athletes the professional careers they deserve. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sunny, for that. So, yep, that was also really good as well. We will move on to the last group, which is Han and Hui. So, on affirmative, you can start first. Okay, so yeah, Han and Hui, you guys can start. Whoever is affirmative, you can start. I think affirmative is Hui, right? You can start your speech. But don't tell me Hui is not here.
He might be sleeping.
He could be sleeping, so Han, you can start first. Yeah, Han, you're on negative, so you can start as a negative. Oh, your house is a bit noisy. Okay. Don't worry. You can just speak. Like, noisy is okay.
Wait, I think I'm affirmative.
You can start now because I just called you and you didn't answer. All right, Hui, you can start.
Oh, sorry, because my house is noisy too.
Okay, you can start.
Okay, so my speech will start in 3, 2, 1. Commercialization in sport can be defined as the process by which games and athletes are transformed into profit-driven commodities, where financial motives such as inflated transfer fees, sponsorship deals, and corporate ownership overshadow the original values of fair play and passion. In today's context, this shift has turned clubs into businesses and athletes into marketable assets, meaning success is often determined less by talent or effort and more by financial power. As a result, wealthy teams dominate competitions, smaller clubs struggle to survive, and fans increasingly question the fairness and authenticity of the game, showing how commercialization has eroded the true spirit of sport. Moving on, let me provide you with the principle here. The essence of sport lies in fair play, passion, and community spirit. When commercialization dominates through inflated transfer fees, sponsorship deals, and profit-driven motives, the game shifts from being a cultural and social activity to a business transaction. This undermines the principle that sport should be about athletic excellence and collective joy, not financial exploitation. In short, commercialization corrupts the spirit of the game by prioritizing money over spirit. Next, my practical argument. Commercialization has undermined the true spirit of sport by shifting its focus from passion, fair play, and community to profit and financial success. Traditionally, sport was valued for its unpredictability, where talent, hard work, and determination determined the outcome. Today, however, billion-dollar transfer fees, sponsorship deals, and corporate ownerships have turned athletes into marketable commodities and clubs into profit-driven businesses. Financial power now plays a major role in deciding success, as wealthy teams can buy the best players, invest in superior facilities, and dominate competitions, leaving smaller clubs with little chance to compete. Although the FIFA World Cup is often celebrated as a competition where any nation can dream of success, many of the tournament's strongest teams, like France, Spain, benefit from players who have been deployed in the world's wealthiest professional leagues, like La Liga, Premier League, where clubs invest enormous sums in coaching, sports science, and elite facilities. This financial advantage gives some nations a stronger talent pool and highlights how commercial investment can shape success on international stage. As a result, matches become more and athletes are often valued much for their commercial appeal as for their sporting ability. This growing emphasis on money weakens fans' trust in the fair authenticity of sport while reducing its role as a force that unites communities. Ultimately,
Sorry. Yeah. Must have been my Wi-Fi. You can continue. Yeah, I will not share the timer, but you can continue.
actually, I finished my speech already.
Okay, that's fine. So, Hun, you can ask him a question.
So I have a question for you is that does earning more money automatically make an athlete less passionate about their sports? And why is that?
You heard the question?
Yes. Thank you for the question. So, earning more money doesn't automatically kill passion, but when commercialization makes money the central measure of success, it shifts athletes' motivation. Instead of playing for pride, fair play, or community, they are pressured to maximize contracts, sponsorships, and marketability. The mechanism here is that financial incentives begin to outweigh intrinsic values. Yes, athletes are treated as commodities, and clubs prioritize profit over spirit. The impact here is that passion becomes secondary, competition less authentic, and fans lose trust in whether the game is about skill or about who can afford the biggest paycheck. In short, it's not the money itself, but the dominance of money over merit that erodes passion and the true spirit of sport. Thank you.
Okay, so now, Hun, you can give, and class will be over, so you can give your speech. Really sorry to keep you guys until this late.
Okay, so while we know that commercialization has changed the way sport operate nowadays, I strongly disagree that it has destroyed the spirits of the game. I believe that the position has confused the business side of sports with spirits of sport. The true spirits of sport lies in passion, teamwork, determination, and sportsmanship. And these values continue to exist despite the increasing role of money. So now I'll present two arguments to support our side. First, my principal argument is that money does not replace passion. The proposition assumes that because the athletes receive huge salaries and sponsorship deals, they only care about money. But however, this assumption ignores the reality of professional sports. Athletes spend years training, overcoming injuries, and making personal sacrifice before they ever receive a professional contract. They start playing because they genuinely love their sports, not because they expect to become a millionaires. Uh, Receiving sponsorships or earning a high salary is simply recognition for their hard work and talent. Just as teachers can love teaching while earning salaries, athletes can continue to love the sports while earning money from it. In, in fact, even after becoming wealthy, many athletes continue to train every day, compete at their highest level, and proudly represent their clubs and country. Their actions show that passion still drives them. Therefore, commercializations change how athletes are rewarded, but it does not destroy the passion or the spirits of their game. Secondly, my practical arguments is that commercialization helps sports develop. Commercialization provides the financial resource needed to improve sports. Revenue from sponsorship, broadcasting rights, and advertising helps clubs build better stadiums, improve facilities, invest in youth academies, and also provide better medical care for athletes. It also allows millions of people around the world to watch competitions through television and online streaming. As a result, more young people are inspired to play more sports, and talented athletes have greater opportunities to develop their career. So, without commercialization, many clubs and sporting events would struggle financially, and fewer young athletes would have access to professional training. So commercialization has expanded the opportunities rather than destroying their the sports secret. Uh, so that's all of my speaking.
Okay. Hui, you can ask her a question. And yeah.
Okay. So my question for her is that if money doesn't replace passion and truly develop sport, then why do wealthy clubs consistently dominate competitions while smaller clubs with equal passion lose their best players, leaving them unable to compete? How does that strengthen fairness or the spirit of the game?
Can you repeat, please? I can hear you really clearly.
Okay. So my question for you is that if money doesn't replace passion and truly develops sport, then why do wealthy clubs consistently dominate competitions while smaller clubs with equal passion lose their best players, leaving them unable to compete? How does that strengthen fairness or the spirit of the game?
It's okay. Like, if you don't have an answer now, it's fine, I guess. All right. But yeah, it's pretty late now. I'm really sorry to keep you guys. It took longer than I expected. But yeah, all eight of you are still here. So we'll take a picture to show that the remainings are still here and we will end. So I think all of you are pretty tired or busy by now. Who is staying up late to watch football? Anyone? No?
Me.
How about you?
Oh, I will not do that because I am not patient enough to watch a football match. Okay. So yeah, I'll take one. So one, two, and three. Okay, I think that picture works. So yeah, wait, let me save the photo. Okay, bye guys.
Yeah.